So we're now in Trados Studio, and what we have set up here is a demo project, which uses the same file I've been using for the workflows based on MemoQ and OS 10 speech dictation. In the file, I have some excerpts from a Wikipedia article, which I copied, and here are just 12 segments. And what we need to do is to export these contents, this file, in a bilingual format that you can use on a mobile device in order to edit it or translate it by using speech recognition or dictation. Now, Trados is a lot more finicky with this than MemoQ. And one of the things I found out is that it doesn't really work unless the target column has any sort of content. So, as silly as it may be, what I actually need to do is to put something in these columns. Now, this will lead to a junk entry in the TM for each row, which is nasty, I guess. But you can easily fix it later. So what I'm going to do for ease of simplification is just to simply change the segment status into translated, but after I've copied the source to target. Because if you don't have content there, when you export the file, Trados will not import it properly, at least not in any of the attempts I've tried before. I'll just copy source to target and set the segment status as translated. And now you have a document, a bilingual document, which is in fact monolingual, which will be updating with your translation, but more to that later. So we save the document here in File, Save, and you need the option that's also under the File menu called Export for External Review. You click on this, and you export the file for external review by clicking on Next. You choose the path, you choose the layout, which you have side by side or the top down. I prefer side by side because it's more familiar for me. You click on Finish. It says, okay, the warning is that it has already overwritten a file that existed there with the same name from a previous attempt. You click on Close and it asks you if you'd like to open the folder containing your exported documents, of which of course you say yes. The folder is the one that is now open, but you should go into the language code folder, and then you will find your bilingual file with the contents in both the source and target column. Now, if you go into the review option in the ribbon, you will see that it has track changes, and somehow this may or may not work very well depending on how you mess with it. Trados is, again, pretty damn finicky as far as this goes. And what I'm going to do here is basically to delete these contents, which are now all marked up as deleted. And this is actually interesting because you have a few tags here, and let's see how it behaves when you remove the tags. You have now deleted the file, and if you see it, say, for example, in the final view without tracking changes, you see that the columns are now empty. So you save the file like this, and you will now open it for translation in a mobile software package. If, for example, this does not preserve the track changes in any way, you can always come back to this file, copy the target segment column in the file you edited or translated it into using dictation, and copy it back here with track changes on, and it will work. So you save the file, and you go back to your mobile platform. So we're now back in the iPad, and what we need to do is to open the file that we have just saved in Trados and use a word processor to enable us to write content into said file in the target text column. You can use whatever word processor you choose. I have chosen to use Microsoft Word, which you'll just see over there, since I have an Office subscription. But really, anything that can handle docx files will allow you to do this. So when we open the document, what we will need to do is basically just go into each cell in the table like when we saw how the file was formatted, and then simply dictate the contents into it. You will not hear me dictating because I did not record the sound on this one. I was not able to do so. So you'll just see the text appearing and changing as I dictate, which is something that is somewhat unique to this iOS-based dictation feature. And you'll also note that since this is a mix and match of several videos I recorded, that this one has these segments marked as not translated. This was later fixed in order to allow the import of the file. So I'm just placing the cursor now in a segment and I'm starting to dictate. You'll now see the text appearing as I speak and changing as the server interprets the content I have just given it. So I have stopped dictating now, and what happens is that sometimes Microsoft Word for iPad or iOS does these formatting things. If you click the undo key, it will fix it. In this case, I just fixed it myself really quickly by typing. You can also use it to fix some typos. You can fix capitalization issues with certain nouns, whatever you need. Or you can just leave all of that for your review process inside your chosen CAT tool. You're going to have to make sure this all fits in the project or in the document, so you might as well do the review when you have a proper full-sized keyboard in front of you, instead of a virtual keyboard on an iPad. So I am now moving on to a second segment where I will dictate this rather short content. And one of the cool things you'll know about these dictation features is that they recognize certain expressions or abbreviations or acronyms such as AC as AD. You can even call upon Roman numerals if you want to. So we just did that as well. Look up and look down to see if everything's fine. In this case, the interface, the visual interface for Office looks like it's screwed up entirely, but all the contents are there like you'll be seeing. And yeah, now you can see all of it. So what we just need to do now is simply to save the document and go back into Trados to use it. So we're now back in Trados Studio after we edited or translated using dictation on a mobile platform, and now we need to update the project we had already established with the new file. To do that, you go into File and use the Update from External Review. If you remember from the beginning of the video, we exported it with the with contents in the target text column. And while I edited it on the mobile device, for ease of use, I used a clean file. What I did here was just to copy the segments I had dictated, which were segment 8 and segment 9, into the respective contents. And if you go into the review pane in Ribbon and choose Final, you'll see that you have no contents in the other place, but you now have contents here for these two. But you have track changes, and that's what SDL Trados will be looking for. So I'll just shut the file down, and there was no change to it. Go back to SDL Trados, click on File, and Update from External Review. I will then click on Next, choose Add Specific Bilingual File, and choose the updated text file. Click on Next. There are no settings to change in this batch processing category, and I'll click on Finish. And it has finished with 0 errors and 0 warnings. When I click on Close, it asks me if I would like to reopen test file .xsdlxlif, and I will click and say yes, I would like to open it, and it now has the track changes into all of these segments. You can see the new inserted text is blue and the striked out text, which was the old one. Easiest way to fix this all is to go into the Tools menu choose track changes and say accept all changes to the document. You can now select all these segments. Oh, that was a missed shift. And change the segment status to translated. And as you could see, you could have added content for all of these segments. It would have been imported here. So that's it basically for this small demonstration using SDL Trados Studio. I'm not sure how much different 2014 or 2015 versions are. I no longer use this program as my main CAD tool.